tell me, you've got a podcast that you do about carbonated water. Is that correct?
I do, actually. Yeah, it's called the Seltzercast. It's running for almost a year now, actually. Last August I started it. Definitely was like a quarantine project similar to That's Not Austin, but we'll get into that in a few. But
sure.
Yeah, I have always loved seltzer, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start a podcast on it. No one's done that, so let's try it out. And yeah, it's been fun. Most of the time it's like me and my friends just having seltzer and interviewing them about whatever creative project they're doing. But I've had people like Adam Pally on. I've had Simon Majumdar from the Food Network on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been fun. It's been fascinating to learn, like everybody likes some carbonated beverage, even if it's not seltzer. So it's been nice trying to pinpoint like everybody's tastes. And
dude, you had Majumdar on?
He's great.
How was
so
that?
good.
I bet he was very opinionated with everything.
He was. He did not want to talk about seltzer. He said that right off the bat. He said, I don't like seltzer at all. I don't drink it. So we drank tonic water, and we just sat there at I think it was really early too. It was like 7 in the morning, 9 in the morning, whatever it was. And we were just sitting there drinking tonic water. And I'll say that, yeah, he was extremely kind, and I'm very thankful that he did that. But, I learned the whole history of tonic water in the matter of like 30 minutes. So, yeah, thanks, Simon, for that.
What's his beef on seltzer?
I just don't think he likes it. I don't know. There's been guests who have passed just because they don't like it. And I like when people don't like seltzer and they come on the pod. I like to debate them about it and stuff. So it's I want everybody to come on and tell me if they like seltzer or not. It's a pod for everybody.
Russell, are you familiar with Simon Majumdar?
No, I have no idea.
He's a food critic, and he is wildly opinionated and endlessly entertaining. I think
he's great.
I think you would like him.
I believe I did appreciate. So, Sean, Clark likes to make this difficult for me by wearing sunglasses indoors while we record. But
I treat podcasting like professional poker.
I swear to God, your eyes lit up behind them when he mentioned that name, and I knew it. Anything food he's eating right
he
now.
He used to be a big judge on Iron Chef.
I knew him from what is it called, the Alton Brown show.
Cool Eats.
No.
The other one,
Cutthroat Kitchen.
That's
which is one of my favorite shows. I couldn't remember the name of it, but that's like my favorite food show. I think it's great. And he's always like, if you get him as a judge, that's the guy that's going to be mean to you
every time. He's the Simon
really
Cowell
sweet.
of food.
Yeah, I think it's like a persona he puts up though, because he's really just like a sweet British guy. But he's tough on food because he has the knowledge to do so.
Wasn't that Gordon Ramsay? Isn't he the Simon Cowell of food?
That's pretty good. Yeah, and they also wear T-shirts that are about 2 sizes too tight.
That's part of the brand. Now, Sean, you got to weigh in here. Clark rolled in today while we're recording with his first time beverage of liquid death. Now I know it's not bubbly water, but do you have any?
They do have sparkling water.
Oh, they do.
They do have a sparkling water.
Have you covered it on the show already?
Yes, I have. With guest, I would like to shout him out because I feel like he's kind of in tune with like a little bit of like the Unnamed Footage Festival in a way, because his art is pretty out there and like really great. He's a dear friend of mine, Noah Cutter Myhoff. He covered Liquid Death with me because his art very much is in the style of like Liquid Death, I would say, where he does like metal covers and stuff. And yeah, we both tried it and we loved it. That was my first time trying it on the pod. Many people reached out to me and was like, hey, when are you going to do this? Or like, can I come on and cover that? But it was one of the first ones we did, I feel like. And I've since had it quite a lot. I used to have to go to Whole Foods to get it, but it seems like it's at almost like every 7-Eleven now. So that's really exciting that it's become more accessible and that people know what it is, because I think it's a good one. It's very refreshing, and I like that it's as big of a can as it actually is, because I feel like with seltzer, I finish cans really quickly, but it's like a tall boy can, so you're able to like sip it and like enjoy it. So yeah, it's great.
Now I haven't waded into the liquid death water, and I haven't. From looking at it, it looks like the Affliction shirts of water.
But it's not. It's beautiful branding.
Is it only the branding though?
No. As I
They
told
do
you,
good things, though, I would say. Like, I think there's something environmentally friendly about it. I know that sounds terrible, and I don't know what, but I think it's like something to do with like the can is better because it's like aluminum or some, I don't know. But they're great. Yeah, they don't use plastic. That's their whole thing. So
that's the thing. I'm either going can or glass, because I'm a Topo Chico man at the end of the day. And so I've got a glass bottle. I like the twist of grapefruit, which I'm currently in. But
Topo Chico is like my top, I would say.
It's very good. Now, Now, where are you in the Lacroix madness?
I like it. I think that there's some flavors that are terrible. On the podcast, I think I tried... I'm going to say I think it was a passion fruit LaCroix, and I straight up thought it tasted like dirt. Like, there's no other way to put it. I think it tasted just, like, earthy and terrible. But I love the designs. I don't think they're tacky in any way. I think they're just, like, out there and really cool. And, I like it. For the most part, I like them. I do.
Now, for the first time, when I had the pamplemousse for the first time, the grapefruit, I believe, I had 5 in a row. Couldn't get enough. I loved it. And then I had diarrhea. And so I haven't had it since. But that was it. But see,
have you tried limoncello?
No.
Limoncello tastes like cake. Like, it baffles me because it tastes like, like liquefied lemon cake, like frosting and all. Like, I don't know how it's a seltzer and somehow it's like 0 calories.
Oksana, do we have any here?
That's why I do the podcast, is because I'm constantly baffled by like, if something is somehow 0 calories, if it has like a full flavor, it kind of takes me by surprise. Like, if it doesn't just taste like carbonated water, so yeah. The limoncello is like a dessert seltzer, I would say.
It definitely feels like it has like a hint of vanilla or something.
Yeah, definitely.
I usually use LaCroix to cut my red wine with. I like the regular lemon for that the most. The limoncello one, it's one of the better ones. I'm gonna sway you away from watermelon. It doesn't taste anything like watermelon. It's bizarre.
I like the watermelon. It's not. It's okay. It's not the best watermelon seltzer, I would say, but it definitely tastes like a little bit artificial, and I don't hate that.
Is there high competition for watermelon seltzers?
I've just had other ones. Like, Hal's has like watermelon seltzer that tastes like if you were having like water. Like, that's like the question that always comes up, I would say, is like, does it taste artificial, or does it taste like if you were at a restaurant and they put like a lemon or a lime in your drink? Like, does it taste like that? So that also comes up with like watermelon seltzer in terms of like, does it taste like a natural watermelon flavor, or does it taste like an Italian ice watermelon or something like that, like, or like a Jolly Rancher flavor. So it's there's a lot to discuss regarding seltzer.
Yeah, I don't know. They kind of freak me out.
But see, your experience with seltzers are more on the hard seltzers.
That's not true.
You're Mr. White Claw over here.
Nah, I've been trying to do like intermittent fasting, and when I hit the time where I'm supposed to stop eating, I tried to like replace that with like LaCroix, where I'm like, okay, I need a snack, just because that oral fixation, like and like watching a movie, it's really hard not to just make popcorn. So, dude, I've been digging into the fucking LaCroix. Actually, when we run out of them or when they're not cold, I kind of get grumpy.
Well, as do I, because I'm trying to kick soda. So now I need these guys as backup.
Yeah, dude, there's like 4 cases downstairs.
Not anymore.
Oh, see you blinking, it's gone here. Now, Sean, you thought we were going to bring you on here to talk about your short film that you had enough, but clearly we love bubbly water.
No, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, when I found out you were doing a podcast about that, I was angry I hadn't heard about it before. like Clark listens to all the hack food shows like Doughboys and all that garbage. So I'm here to.
I listen to one show that talks about fast food.
He just made a TikTok to do cooking videos.
That's not a bad thing.
Completely constructed by Russell Fisher. That's not a thing that's happening.
What did you get TikTok for?
I don't know. To look at titties.
Now, Sean, did you actually tune in to UF? Were you able to watch any of our programming?
I was not. No, I had something to do later that day, so I was like, I don't think I'm going to get up that early to watch That's Not Awesome. But I wish I did, because I heard the chat loved it. I was under the impression that they did. Is that correct, or am I like completely wrong?
Oh yeah, that? And we didn't give you an easy time. If you're out here on the West Coast, I think your short played around like 5 a.m.
I'm on the East Coast, so
okay, so it would have been like 8. Yeah.
I was sleeping, I'll have to say.
Now, you had a very important role to play, because That's Not Austin is a kind of like slice of life from like 3 a.m. TV and like channel surfing. Right. And I really needed to transition out of all the heavy stuff we had done at like our actual 3 a.m. slot.
Sure.
Which was like Charlotte's Net, which featured, real carnage from cartel videos. And
oh boy.
Yeah, like heavy material. We had an ARG that deals with like heavy themes. And the best way, I thought, for that like up late delirious time was That's Not Austin, because you nail that like channel surfing delirium where you just end up hating pop culture.
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. But it's an interesting way that this happened, because I didn't set out to make it wasn't something where I was like, you know what, today I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna make a short film about Austin Powers. I'm not sure if you guys know, I am the co-founder of the Mike Myers Movie Club, which started on Zoom very, very early on into quarantine. And my girlfriend and I hosted it, and we were like, you know what? We're going to show Austin Powers on Zoom, because the January before COVID, we were on a plane and we've rewatched Austin Powers for the first time in a while, and we were like, you know what, it still holds up, it's really funny, it's great, it's incredible. And so when Zoom first started, I was like, hey, this is something where I could show like movies on and stuff. So as everybody did, had a screening of Austin Powers, and kind of as a bit, right as we were showing the movie, I was like, hey, from this point forward, we're gonna watch every single Mike Myers movie on Zoom. It ended up not being a bit, and word of mouth spread, and we did it, and we watched everyone except for Bohemian Rhapsody, just because we were like all not fans of that movie. We all fucking hate that movie. So we watched them all. We were able to book like guest Q&As for it as well, which was really fun. We did one of the best ones, I think it was like the last Q&A that we did do, was we had like the entire makeup team from Inglourious Basterds come. Greg Nicotero was there. It was great. Wow. It was really just eye-opening and really fun. Robert Wagner gave me a call at one point. We did that on Zoom. It was pretty crazy. Like, just all these people relating to Mike Myers is kind of like a chain reaction in a way of like, oh, this person was on, well, I worked with this person on this movie, so talk to them. And yeah, it was really great.
What kind of traffic did you get from the Love Guru?
We had, on the day of the Love Guru, we did not tell her we were watching the Love Guru, but we had the choreographer for the Love Guru and also Austin Powers, but she also did like, I'm pretty sure she did like Showgirls as well. So we were just asking about like her entire filmography, because just what a career. And we did watch the Love Guru that night, unfortunately. But it was great. It was the kind of thing where we were able to track down a lot of like lost things too, because if you look on like Mike Myers IMDb, he's got things that like are just not available. There was like a mockumentary called The Thin Pink Line that was just incredible, and the director like sent us a private link to watch it. I think it was only released in like Japan at the time too. Like, so essentially
wait, hold on.
like
the thin pink line, that's a play on Errol Morris's The Thin Blue Line.
I would imagine.
yes.
We need to get in touch with whoever. And it's a mockumentary.
Yeah, it's a mockumentary. It is about it's like about a supermodel who's like murdered. And the amount of people that are in it, it's like really insane, because it definitely was made by like a friend group, but then the friend group was also people who ended up being famous, like Jennifer Aniston or Will Ferrell or Janine Garofalo. So it's like who's who, like, just even if they're in it for like 30 seconds, like that's like Mike Myers is in it for like 30 seconds. So that was a lost movie. I think it was only released in theaters in Japan, but the director had sent it to us and let us watch it and screen it for one night only. And there was a series of stuff like that. Like we had, there was a pilot that Mike Myers was in with Ryan Stiles from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Sure.
And I forgot who else. There was like somebody else in it, and it was made at Second City, and it was like a really funny pilot. And it was online briefly, but then it was taken offline, and Second City's archives like had to send it to us. So it was interesting because like we were just tracking down all this media, and it was about Mike Myers. And, you know, Mike Myers is not somebody that we've spoken to, but we've spoken to, like, you know, like I said, anybody from like Robert Wagner to like Mrs. Kwan from the Cat in the Hat movie spoke to us. Like, so it was like, you know, definitely a quite the journey. And, you know, the Mike Myers part of it was great, but, you know, to be a little bit more sentimental, I made a friend group out of it. You know, I knew some of the people, but a lot of it was like, I knew one person, they told their friend that I didn't know, and they told their friend that I didn't know. And now it's a whole group of people, and I would say most, if not all of them, are artists in one sense of the other. Like, in terms of like, we have somebody who's incredible at painting, or we have somebody who's incredible at filmmaking and stuff. And like, that leads to That's Not Austin, because we did almost like a show and tell art night one day, where there is another piece of lost media is we were able to track down a MTV special that was hosted by Austin Powers right before the first Austin Powers movie came out. It was a half-hour special of essentially him showing like music videos, like they showed like Beck music videos and Spice Girls, like very much so of that era. And it was like kind of like a parody of like Laugh-In. And that was really great. And so because that was only a half hour long, yeah, we did like a show and tell, like an art night and stuff. And some people made paintings, and some people did stuff on like Illustrator and everything. And I went down the rabbit hole of, hey, I'm gonna try to find, you know, bizarre Austin Powers videos on YouTube, and I was just gonna show them all in a playlist. And then I realized, no, there's like dozens of I think the short's like what, 25 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
like there is you know, dozens and dozens of Austin Powers impersonators who are still active, by the way. Like they're still working, and all of their videos are as if you'd imagine, like, I don't know, somebody from your local high school being like, I'm gonna act like Austin Powers, and I'm gonna make a video on like the worst cameras possible. And so, you know, after compiling them just into my editing program, I was like, I think there's something more here. I was like, just showing the footage, it wasn't enough for me. Like, I was like, I know that there is almost like a deeper story within these like horrific like videos, which I would like to say that like I didn't even use them all. Like I just checked, it's a 19-minute short. I did not use them all. Like there is plenty more out there, and they're still going. There, you can hire Austin Powers impersonators in the year of 2021, and they will do your event. I don't know for how much, but they exist. So,
I wonder if there's
like,
Austin Powers cameos.
I was just thinking that too.
there should be, if not, I don't know.
Maybe the
It was
Hamner Barber? Hamner Barber?
Oh God, the Hamner Barber Variety Hour, which that's an interesting thing too, because that's I think it's in
Branson, Missouri.
Right. So that led me to be like, what the hell is Branson, Missouri? And be like, it's essentially, in my understanding, it feels like Orlando without any theme parks.
So Sean, I can help you. I can fill in this gap for you. More than happy to do it. I am 34 years old, and I have been to Branson, Missouri 10 times in my lifetime.
Whoa.
For the Hamner Barber? No, I can't say the fucking name.
So here, do you want to know the full story? Here's the full story.
Yeah, let's hear.
So my grandparents, I'm from Mississippi originally. So my grandparents ran the Sunday school for the blind and handicapped in the community. And every summer, they would go on a trip. And because they were my grandparents, we went with them. So from ages 5 until 18, every summer would spend a week going to either Branson, Missouri. We went to Nashville a few times. Went to Houston once. Not a good trip. We were supposed to see the Beach Boys, but had to cancel that. And then, so 10 times I've been to Branson, Missouri.
But no times did you watch the Hamner Barber
I am
show.
very familiar with the Hamner Barber. I don't recall ever going to that. It's a possibility. I have been to this show because I saw some terrible variety shows in my time.
Sure.
But so there is actually an amusement park in Branson. Branson is basically, if I would say it, is the family-friendly Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
It is Christian Las Vegas.
Wait. Is that where Silver Dollar City is?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Branson is Christian Vegas.
Wait, what is Silver Dollar?
Silver Dollar City is the amusement park in Branson.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
I've heard of it because I know they do a
terrible
lot of stuff for Christmas there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It looks cool.
Yeah, I was really hoping one of y'all had seen the Hamner Barber, because in that clip, there is a dude with 2 ventriloquist dummies, and it looks like one of the ventriloquist dummies is operating him.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So I think the thing is about like why I did this and like my obsession and stuff. And I think if anything out of all the videos in there, definitely about like Hamner Barber is like, I always loved like travel videos in a way, but travel videos, I don't mean by like, travel vlogs or anything on YouTube. I mean, like if you're sitting in a hotel room on vacation and you're watching like the hotel channel where it's just showing you like all like the essentially like a living brochure of like what the city has to like offer. I always loved that, and I always loved like seeing just what every city had just by like a television. And I think that there's like a specific kind of way that these things are filmed regarding like Hamner Barber, or if you look at like old Disney stuff and old Disney travel videos and stuff, that they just don't film it like that anymore, and it almost looks like surreal in a way. And so if you times that or like add that with like Austin Powers impersonators, then it just really feels like off,
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I really appreciate your Mike Myers love. Now,
thank you.
Before we started recording, me and Clark were like, what's a good Mike Myers movie? I was like, I don't know. I can't think of one. And I'm like, I like Wayne's World, but I wouldn't watch it again. And then I pulled Shrek. Oksana's a fan of Shrek. But I remember watching Austin Powers in the theater and like loving it. And that memory makes me cringe. I could not revisit it. And your film, it spoke to me in kind of like how culture can end up turning into this like vulture fest, where it's like Mike Myers created a character that is so unique, and even the presentation, like just the like 70s kind of like Bond-esque, like I don't know, there's something about it so unique that people feel like they can mimic it or like parody it. And it really opened it up to anybody, which I loved in your film, because we get all this regional footage, like we're talking about, and it just created this vortex of like American culture, how we get stuck on a thing and we just beat it to death. Until more recently, we did it with Tiger King, where that shit was fucking everywhere. And I bet we could go on YouTube and pull videos of everybody doing impersonations. But now, you mentioned Tiger King at a party, you get thrown out. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, it's not even that people don't care, it's that they don't, it's almost they want to forget. And when I got That's Not Austin, man, you reminded me of a time that's just so bygone.
What parties have you been thrown out of because you're talking about Tiger King? I could not let that go.
I heard, so Joe Exotic was doing NFTs out of his jail cell.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Oh,
and it's one of those things where you hear Joe Exotic and NFT in a sentence, and you're like, you just know it's jumped the shark. Like, culturally, it's just we can do no more. And I feel like Austin didn't they have like a Austin Powers like Burger King ad read?
Yeah, he was like that. That's another thing too. That's another like subculture, is like the amount of, you know, promotional tie-ins and stuff that contained Austin Powers. I find it to be fascinating, because if you look at like what is considered like a promotional tie-in like now, it's never like, there hasn't really been something where there'll be a promotional tie-in with like an R-rated comedy.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I don't know if Austin Powers is R-rated, but like
PG-13.
Still, even just like a comedy in general, like that doesn't happen anymore. So it's fascinating that, like, you know, one guy kind of just like made a character and was just like, hey, this is going to be an original movie. Like, that sounds crazy that this like doesn't exist anymore, but it's like, it's true. Like, you just don't see, you know, you don't go to Burger King and see like, I don't even know what today's equivalent to Austin Powers would be. The Joe Exotic burger. I don't know. You know, so it's fascinating to me.
Now,
it's definitely culturally like gone.
I've always wondered though, what do the Brits think of Austin Powers? Because Austin Powers was enormous when I was a kid. Like, you could not get away from it. So that's why, for a second, I don't doubt that you had to sift through so much, because it was just, the culture was just inundated by Austin Powers. So I just think like the Brits probably hate the shit out of it. Yeah. Because imagine if they had made Joe Dirt, that would be like an American. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, with the terrible teeth.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I don't know this for sure, but I'd imagine that most of, if not all of, the Austin Powers impersonators in that video are from America. I do not think, I think it's like only like an American.
Now, I'll tell you, a couple are pretty impressive.
A couple, keyword a couple.
A couple are pretty impressive. I love the guy on the news report with the Ben and Jerry's guy. I think I may like the Ben and Jerry's guy more, because he is just wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that what's really funny too about that clip in particular is that, you know, if it had been maybe like something like the Today Show, or, you know, like a national show, it would have been like, you know, somebody, maybe even Mike Myers himself as Austin Powers, and maybe even Ben and Jerry themselves. But what you have here is local television that they say that there's going to be celebrity scoopers, and then you start to think like, what does that mean? Because like, who is a celebrity that's going to come down to like wherever the fuck they are and scoop Ben and Jerry's? And then you just have like the manager of Ben and Jerry's on the news, and that's considered news. That is when you get good content. That's what I would say.
Local news is my favorite.
Yeah, and the hosts,
of course,
you could tell their attention was mostly on the impersonator. Like, they were ignoring that manager motherfucker, and it was it's beautiful. Now, I do have a craft question with this video. Now, did you find all of these on YouTube, or were you digging up like VHS tapes and like finding commercials that were taped?
It was all YouTube.
Okay, now
every single, I'm pretty sure every single thing on there was from YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, because that video, there was a editing choice in there that I didn't like, and it read to me like YouTube, because when we get our impersonator and he's doing all his quirky shit with the Ben and Jerry's, we get like a forced digital zoom on him. Do you know what I'm talking about? That was you. Okay. And because it read very YouTube, but it worked. And I was like, I'm curious if you actually went in there and altered the footage. Now, did you end up doing that with any of the other stuff you pulled?
I would say some of it. It depends. I mean, like that clip in particular, if you can find it on YouTube, it is much longer. Like a lot of these clips are so much longer than you'd anticipate. And that's when I would say the comedy is not there, because they just like let Austin Powers impersonator just like keep going over and over. So I definitely altered them a little bit. That clip, I would say in particular, probably the most one out of all of it, especially to look like they don't care about the Ben and Jerry's guy. I think that they were maybe a little bit more, warm towards him, but just by the look on his face, you can see it's just like clear as day that he does not want to be there. One thing I would like to say in particular too that I've noticed that has just stood out with me from day one is that do you guys know like the state, like the Wet Hot American Summer guys?
Sure.
Okay, so there's two impersonators where one of them looks almost identical, I would say, or I would say even sounds almost identical to Michael Showalter.
Yeah.
And there's another guy who is like spot on doppelganger to 80 miles. And that's kind of like stood out for me in a way of just like, they're not famous, but it's like these impersonators are not famous, but it's scary how they start to look like other people in like pop culture. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just a bizarre coincidence.
Was the AD Miles guy the one who did Dr. Evil too?
Yeah, he's like Trent Betting, I think it is.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, my personal favorite, and I think, see, I'm rethinking the whole film now. Now that I know Sean had his fingers in it, honestly, I'm much more impressed. The thing played so well, and with a 19-minute runtime, you really don't overstay your welcome with any of it. And I think my personal favorite one was the Sean Connery bit.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I like the way that you presented that one too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But so that's an instance where I would say that I edited it a little bit, is that I wanted it to feel really long, because that's something that, up until that point in the film, I would say that it's pretty fast paced and you're moving like really fast through all Austin Powers. But this one in particular, I wanted to stay on it for a while because it actually is like a really long, like awful sketch on YouTube, and to put it bluntly. And so what happens is you definitely feel the length within it. However, he turns to the camera and acts like it's like a car insurance thing.
Yeah.
But in reality, if you were to watch it on YouTube, you would just realize that that's a joke that he's doing. It's not a car insurance commercial. But being that I show like the length of it, and you're not seeing it in terms of like watching it on an Austin Power impersonator's like YouTube channel, it plays as if it's like, oh, you're watching a car insurance commercial, because you're seeing so many commercials like before it. So that was definitely a choice to leave that in there and also just let it go for as long as possible. How
long is that whole video?
Let's see. I'm looking it up. I can hopefully find it.
Because you cutting that up and making it in a more presentable manner. I mean, you truly are turning chicken shit into chicken salad. Because...
Well, thank you.
Dude, Sean, you're 2 for 2, man. I'm shocked. I thought for sure you hadn't altered the footage. Like, the digital zoom did really read as like modern editing to me, but I didn't think it was you. And now, hey man, you're killing it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm fluent in video editing, so I was like, I have to do this. The it's called James Bond versus Austin Powers.
Of course,
it is 6 minutes and 56 seconds, so almost 7 minutes in total of just over and over.
Where did it premiere? The Guantanamo Bay Film Festival?
It's a YouTube video with 2 celebrity impersonators, 2 of which that I will not name publicly on the pod. But, yeah.
Oh my God.
I respect that choice. Now, I have
we
to...
could use the buzz.
I have to blame you a little bit here. When we were coming up with the concept for the UF 24-hour film fest, dude, That's Not Austin, it really stuck with me. And it kind of gave me, like, it really propelled me in the direction when we went, which was a punishing, nonstop, 24-hour plus long marathon. And to me, the reward of the whole thing for those who stuck it out would be the little gems like That's Not Austin. That was another reason why I wanted it at 5 a.m. I wanted people to get delirious with all the movies and all the heavy content, and then just be kind of like half awake, living through That's Not Austin.
I love that. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I tried to do. So I love to hear that.
And I tried, because I am a steward of art, I tried to get your short presented at a more reasonable time. And Russell had his reasons, and I got overpowered because I'm weak at the end of the day.
Oh, well, I'm glad that it was in the time slot it is, because I think that's, like, the best time to watch it. And also, like, the thing is with this film is, like, you know, near the end of it, I would say, like, my favorite part of the whole thing, and I'll go back, and I'll only watch maybe the last, like, 2 minutes of the video, because when it cuts to, like, the cable, like, the TV guide, like, on the TV... it kind of feels like, you know, the narration at the video is myself and my girlfriend. And I wanted to include that because I have the person saying, like, oh, I can't sleep. And then at the end, it just stays on the TV guide as if the person watching it did fall asleep. And then while it's on the TV guide, you're seeing footage of Austin Powers still. So it's just endless, like it's going to continue and continue and continue. So yeah, I like that because that, you know, adds an extra layer to it that it actually was that early in the morning. And that, you know, I hope that there was a viewer out there that had a awful sleep while watching this. So
now, how did it play during your, like, Zoom screenings?
They loved it. You know, we only showed it once on Zoom during the art night, and they definitely loved it. We still talk about it, like, a lot till this day, just because, you know, we're still constantly baffled by the footage. Like, that's the kind of thing where I'm happy to have found it, but, you know, I don't think even if I tried, I could make footage like the things that I found in this movie. So yeah, I'd say that we're, like, constantly baffled by it. I have thought I haven't dug enough, and maybe this will be another project soon. And I hesitate to even tease it because I might not even get around to this someday. But I have thought about doing That's Not Shrek, because I know that there's got to be Shrek impersonators all through YouTube. I just have not looked for them yet.
Do you think Shrek made anywhere near as big a cultural ripple that Austin Powers did?
One could make the argument bigger.
It's continuing to do it, though.
Oh, that's a fair point.
So the issue with Shrek, as opposed to Austin Powers, is that Shrek is... like, I think the first Shrek is, like, a great movie, but, you know, Shrek's being, like, a meme has just been a meme since memes have, like, existed. I feel like, so, you know, there absolutely is more of an impact on internet culture with Shrek. So people are already making memes and making, like, you know, like, I think there was, like, it was called Shrek Retold, like, a bunch of animators, like, remade Shrek and stuff. So, like, there is that kind of thing out there, but I could imagine that there's also that side of, like, the local television. There's got to be some guy on local TV dressed as Shrek, and I want to find it. I don't know if I will make anything out of it, but I'm sure that it exists.
So while you just gave me the idea of talking about the Shrek thing, so I looked it up on YouTube to see what we've got here. We've got one guy who pulls up, if you type in Shrek Impersonations.
Oh, no.
Brian Hull owns the first 4 videos up there.
Oh, I see him. Yeah,
he has a 2.8 million view video called "Shrek and the Donkey at the Drive-Thru."
Oh no.
Oh, boy.
Sean, if you take on this project, and we do another I will book it blind.
Okay.
I know. I have so much faith in you. I love the format. I love the digital vortex of media on YouTube. The digital rabbit hole is probably one of my favorite things to talk about because it's taken so many hours of my life from me. And I would love to plunge into Shrek. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Because I really think you need to make this film.
You know, the good way to find things, and I'm sure y'all already know this, but the good way to find things is we just saw the guy's impersonations for the first 4 videos, but if you really, really scroll down and find the things that have 50 views on YouTube, that's when you start to find the good stuff. That's how I've I would just endlessly scroll until I found every Austin Powers video, and then I just download them all and sort through them.
Sean, you just named our life's work. This is what we do. We have so many YouTube videos that we've collected that have less there have been many videos where we were the first people to watch these videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting on treasure troves.
No, Sean, if you're ever in the Bay Area, come over. We'll just get some seltzer water and we'll sit in the front room and we'll project YouTube for hours. And my favorite thing to do, last time I went over to my parents' house, I believe it's for my sister's birthday, and they had all their friends there. I said, all right, give me your phone, because they all cast the YouTube onto the TV.
Sure. Yeah.
And I would play a game where I would play a video, and I'd be like, all right, how many views? And every time people are always like, oh, it's got to be 200,000. We're looking at 220. I don't know. I have a sense of pride there. Mm-hmm. So I think your film, it really speaks to me on that level.
No, I'm glad. It's just I think the reason why it is so baffling as it is because YouTube is vast, and the way that the YouTube algorithm is that YouTube, whether it tries to or not, tries to hide those kind of things. You're seeing the videos up front and forefront from those creators that have thousands of subscribers and everything, but if you look deep enough, you'll find some hidden gems. And yeah, I would say that just as for myself, that's how you find the best stuff. And then you, like you said, you could show it at parties or whatever, so yeah, it's crazy how many videos are on YouTube.
Now, Sean, do you fancy yourself a filmmaker?
I do, yeah. I would say so. I went to film school, and I recently, within the same year as That's Not Austin, directed a documentary as well. That was called Introducing Juan Wauters. It was about the musician Juan Wauters. That was an interesting story where I went to see Mac DeMarco in Central Park. Like most people, maybe this sounds terrible, but I feel like I never really paid attention to the openers before a concert. But something about the musician Juan Wauters was really incredible. Most of his set was just him playing this specific song. It's actually in the documentary, called James Brown, where he would just say over and over, born in Augusta, Georgia, James Brown. And then the whole audience was joining in and singing along with him and everything. And it just felt like a great atmosphere that personally I was like, this needs to be documented. So I got in touch with him, and we had dumplings together, and he agreed to let me make a documentary about him. So, yeah.
Okay, so Juan Wauters, is he doing a comedy thing, or is this real outsider art?
He is an actual, I would say that his music, he definitely has a sense of humor and will do things like spin or race people on stage, and that's always really exciting and super energetic. And so he is funny, but I would say that just up front, he's his music is literally incredible too. So he's just an all-around interesting guy that I was like, you know what, I feel like he should be documented. So with those two projects in the past year, sure, I consider myself a filmmaker. Yeah.
No, I only asked that way because it feels like you're getting kind of pulled into a curator host position with like That's Not Austin. I totally understand how that film came together now. Because, we used to do 2 screenings a night at my house, and we would invite a bunch of people over, and we turned our front room into a theater, and I would just make YouTube playlists of videos to throw on in the background.
Right.
And I'm like, I feel like you're getting pulled over there. Like, if you have fucking Greg Nicotero showing up to your Mike Myers Zoom party, I feel like you're doing something right.
Yeah, well, that's what's interesting about it, I would say, is that, like, look, I'm, to just flat out be completely honest, I'm currently unemployed. I love doing both film, but also doing, like, curation and everything like that, because I think that there's an overlap in the way of, like, I love the satisfaction of showing somebody something that I've made and seeing their reactions, whether it be online in a Zoom club or in a movie theater and stuff. But I also feel like I can get the same high, for lack of a better term, watching Austin Powers with a group of people and seeing their reactions to something that maybe they haven't watched in the past 20 years. So although it's not something that I've made, it's nice to, I guess I just love that feeling of gathering people together and watching something, whether it be something my own or someone else's.
Well, I mean, now I'm going to be a hypocrite when I say this, but what you're doing definitely is a skill. And there's a lot of value there because people really enjoy these things. They're just not willing to put them on. And I find myself in those same shoes all the time where I'm like, I love hosting these things and putting it together, but I wish I was making the movie. And, I tell people all the time, like, no, I'm not talented. But, dude, what you're doing sounds great. And also, how is it? I got 2 questions. One, have you run into any legal trouble showing these films over Zoom?
No, surprisingly, no. We are
knock on wood,
continuing.
Of course.
Yeah, I know. We are continuing with Hugh Grant at the moment. We've been watching all of Hugh Grant's movies. Have not had any issues. We haven't really booked Q&As for Hugh Grant specifically because
that sounds
by this
enjoyable.
point, well, there's 2 reasons. Like, one is like a lot of his films are British, so timing wise, I don't really feel like we would get a lot of like people in England to come to an 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time screening. 2 being that what started as something where we were doing Q&As and it felt very formal, just turned into a friend group. Now I have like 20 great friends that I'm meeting them in September for the first time. Like, we're all meeting up. So it became something a little bit less formal in a way. And I don't hate that. Legal wise, I really thought that we were going to hear something. But one specific person who directed a very popular Mike Myers movie kind of just threw us one of those emails that was just like, does Mike know about this? Does the studio know about this? And after I explained myself, I said, hey, like, maybe I'm I didn't say this, but I was like, maybe I'm good at writing emails and it sounds a lot more professional than we actually are. But it's surprisingly low key, even for something that, to post on Twitter and be like, hey, we're doing a Q&A tonight. Like, when we did all the Q&As, we would never tell people who was arriving unless they were on our tiny letter. Like, we have like a tiny letter where like people could subscribe and know about screenings and stuff. And so just because, after a while I was content with like the people that we had, and I was like, I love making new friends, but I'm like, I never really wanted it to be like massive. Like, I like it almost as a friend group, and then maybe some days Greg Nicotero will show up, so it's surprising that it hasn't exploded in a way, but it's almost like a happy accident that it didn't.
So what did Greg show up and talk about?
For Inglourious Basterds. He was on the makeup team for that, and Mike Myers is in that movie for one scene. He came because getting in contact with Greg Nicotero is something that I don't think I could have done, but we were emailing with, I think her name was Camille. Maybe that's wrong. Let's see. Makeup. She's a very famous makeup artist who recently did like the upcoming Suicide Squad movie. Like, she's definitely worked on a bunch of makeup department stuff.
Who the hell was Mike Myers?
Her name is Heba Thorisdottir. So she loved the idea and was just happy that we were doing something during COVID, like on Zoom. And so it was the kind of thing where she just like rounded up everybody and was like, I'm gonna call this person and try to get them. And that's how Greg Nicotero ended up coming on.
Wow, that's rad.
Yeah.
Wait, who was Mike Myers in that movie?
He played a British general.
Heavy makeup.
Yeah, he's definitely in makeup, unrecognizable. He like gives Michael Fassbender kind of like his mission before Michael Fassbender goes into like the basement, the famous like basement scene.
Operation Kino.
Yeah,
Baby.
Oh, dude, are you gonna show up at the 20 people meet up as Austin Powers? I feel like you can do it, Clark.
Here's something that we're going to Orlando, so it just works out that one of the days, of course, we're going to Universal Studios where they have Shrek 4D. So essentially we are doing Mike Myers Movie Club in person, accidentally, I guess, with a bunch of people. So we're doing a Zoom Club screening of a Mike Myers movie, but it so happens to be in Universal Studios.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Shrek 4D. I completely forgot. We've seen that. Oksana, do you remember? Shrek 4D, they shoot water at you, and there's like a little fan in the... I think it might be PTSD I'm experiencing.
It's a lot, yeah.
Dude, Sean, you have to make the Shrek movie. I'm gonna harass you.
I see. I already forgot that I said that. I was like, wait, am I like gonna make Shrek 5? Like, what's going on?
Well, we're gonna need some handheld footage from Shrek 4D. We need you to be the guy in the movie theater filming the film during.
I'm
Shrek
gonna
4D.
bootleg Shrek 4D. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's gonna be great. It's gonna be a huge hit on YouTube. They'll bury it. I'll show it at my mom's house. How many views?
It's been an interesting year, so I'm happy to discuss it all on the pod.
So what's next for you? Do you have a script in the works, or are you looking to host more Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant's continuing, but I would say, I'm looking to do another documentary. I've been talking to someone about that. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, so I'm not necessarily gonna plug that, but I got 2 feature screenplays that basically nobody's read and are not sold, so somebody buy them. That would be great.
Now, your documentary, is it available right now? The John Wauters one, the Juan Wauters.
Yeah, Juan Wauters. It's on. It is on my Vimeo. People could watch it at vimeo.com/Sean O'Brien Films. It premiered on nobudge.com where it won the audience award, so that was really cool.
Awesome.
But go to the Vimeo, check it out. It's fun. I don't know. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it looks interesting, and I'm almost like it reads as outsider art to me. Is that incorrect? Like, is he a dude struggling through life, or are we dealing with just an artistic dude?
I would say, I think it's kind of similar to, the conversation that we were having in terms of like YouTube videos and stuff, because he definitely has a cult following. Like, it's like, if you know him, like, you like him. So I would say he's pretty big or bigger in like the New York City scene, but he's on the label Captured Tracks, which is pretty big. So for independent musicians and stuff. So I don't know. I think that if you find out about him and you listen to his music, you're probably gonna end up liking it. Like, he's hard not to like, and even if it's not your taste in music, it's just something that you can appreciate it in one way or another.
Okay, yeah, me and Clark are big like avant-garde film or music fans, like The Residents or The Frogs, or even like Wesley Willis. That's why I'm curious like where he would fit in there. But I
like his music is like a lot like it goes from anywhere from like, I would say like indie rock to like folk. Like he a lot of his songs, he's very like calming in a way, but then like I said, he'll be like super energetic and like race people on stage, or like like race people through the crowds and stuff. So yeah, very fascinating dude, and a total sweetheart, and just a really, really good guy.
Clark, who am I blanking on? They did that documentary about him, Weird Paul. Do you know Weird Paul?
No, I do not.
Is it Weird Paul?
It's Weird Paul.
Is it Strange Paul? I feel like Weird Al, Weird Paul.
I think he had a seizure. There you go. Yeah, that kid has had seizures.
Yeah, Sean, you got to check him out, because I think if you're
Weird Paul, I will.
Yeah,
Peanut Butter's great. He has a song about peanut butter.
Let that linger there.
It's very good. All right, Russ, anything else for Sean before we let him go back to drinking seltzer?
No, I'm bummed you missed the fest, because we had a short film, Possessions 2, which isn't the actual title. We just got it wrong. And it opens up, and like the whole movie is kind of based on the rebirth of Lacroix. So I was like, dude, like it kicks off with a depressed man who we had on the show, Zeke Farrow, talking about how if Lacroix could come back after being alive for 40 years, he can too. And he 100% meant that. So I think that film's available on Vimeo.
Yeah, I think it's on his Vimeo channel.
Yeah, we'll send it my way. I would love to see that.
Definitely.
Yeah. You've got to get Zeke on the show and talk about Seltzer.
Yeah.
He'd be great.
I'm down. Yeah.
All right, well, Sean, this was great, man. We're again, thank you so much for letting us show the film, and it played great. Chat loved it, we loved it, and keep us in touch, man. We're down to go down any journey you take us down, man.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.